Over 70 years after the force climbed the mountain, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of the Forcemen would make their own climb to the top of Monte La Difensa.
When you get to the top, just sit in the shade, take your time, look around, and slowly we'll all get up there together.
The members of the association had greatly anticipated this part of the visit and were prepared for the rugged climb to the top. Most would make the more gradual climb on what was referred to as the German side of the mountain, but a small group planned to go up the treacherous attack route to get an even greater insight into what the Black Devils had experienced.
This is a plan we had planned earlier, and we wanted to meet everybody up at the top. It needed to be done. We have our own set of challenges, albeit not as severe as the boys before us. I had both daughters who were going to climb that mountain.
I need to remember what my grandfather did. Even though I never knew, this is kind of how I'm reliving what he went through, because he's not here to explain to me what he had to do. You can hear stories, and the stories are very, emotional. But once you actually go and you see the cliffs in front of you, it gives us a little bit of a sense of what they did for us, for our generations and future generations.
My dad was a force member in Headquarters 1st Regiment, and he would have been part of that reserve group that was on the mountain in 43. And so this morning we're going to be heading up the mountain. What a day this is going to be.
I was shuffling through my suitcase, and it was kind of dark, and I got up, and I hit the back of my head very hard on the sharp corner of the windows that open. I went down. Jay said we just need to go to the hospital. So unfortunately, I'm not heading up the cliffs this morning with my dad, my sister, and the others. So
I want to earn the right to play my pipes, the men of the 1st Special Service Force and their families. And this is nothing compared to what they did. To you, Dad.
As the main group neared the summit, they were greeted by a friend of the 1st Special Service Force.
We are commemorating the brave soldiers of the 5th Special Service Force. I'm proud to dress their uniforms. I'm beginning as a collector. Growing up, I met this wonderful family, and so now, otherwise we do collection in a way, and remembering the 5th Special Service Force on the other side. And every time we can, we will also in an Italian ceremony, we will dress with my friends this uniform to commemorate them. That's what we're doing.
Whether they were paying respect, hoping to connect, or looking for answers. Everyone had personal reasons for making the climb.
Marie, we're here today on Ridge 368, which is a very significant area for you and for your uncle, Morris DeMacedo, who was here December 3rd, 1943. 1st Regiment was at the end of this trail, and they were hit particularly hard. It was wide open. The Germans had it sighted in. They were across the valley. They hit it with everything they had. You're here for your uncle, and we're going to take you to that particular spot where this all happened.
And I've got a photo, and I've come a long way to visit. Yeah.
As soon as I heard we were going to have the opportunity to climb La Difensa, I absolutely knew that was someplace that Evan needed to be, and he needed to be there for a couple of reasons. Evan was born with a condition called agenesis of the corpus callosum, so he hasn't been placed into any one particular syndrome. He has a variety of other anomalies as well at birth, and so that has left Evan, despite the fact that he's 24 years of age, he's developmentally probably around the age of a 9 or 10-month-old. So he requires full care, and he's unable to walk on his own as well. The Germans were defending a Nazi doctrine, and part of that doctrine had no place for Evan. When we visited that museum in Italy and we saw the information on the extermination camps that the Nazis had, one of the, if not the first panel in that museum discussed the Nazis' view on people with special needs and disabilities. Evan wouldn't have had a life under the Third Reich. He was disposable. He meant nothing. His life meant nothing. So to bring him up to Mount La Difensa, to me was very symbolic. Number one, it paid tribute to the men of the force that lost their lives there and the men that survived the battle to drive the Germans off of that mountain. And the force was good at fighting those battles and driving the Germans out of their holes. But that doctrine is something that each one of us needs to fight, and to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, and demonstrate that every person has value, despite what disabilities they might have. So when I brought Evan on the top of Mount La Difensa, that's exactly what I was thinking of. He needed to be there almost more than the rest of us needed to be there to show what's possible with a person with disabilities and to show the Germans how wrong they were.
After the main group had made it to the top, some of the members, including 92-year-old Eugene Gutierrez, ventured below the cliff for a first-hand look.
The scouts, the one that went to explore, went from that corner, climbing without ropes. And the route, the main route, was right down here in this gully, because all this area was completely hidden to the German view. That was a great work by the explorers. They found really a safe way.
What is this now? Tell me again what this is.
This is the top part of our American radio battery.
And we just found that on the ground.
Yes,
just now.
Well, it's still in good condition after 70 years.
Because it's made by aluminum.
You put that in your museum?
I have one complete.
Oh,
you can bring it home as a memory if you want.
Luciano Bucci is a renowned expert on the Black Devils, and he and his colleagues have been collecting relics from the mountain battlegrounds for years. Their extensive collection led to the creation of the Winterline Museum, in the nearby town of Venafro and is largely dedicated to the 1st Special Service Force.
Those 3 canteens are from the top La Difensa, and we found them during our searches, and we discovered on them there are brought some names. In particular, this one is from Captain Rotlin. Captain Rotlin was the officer that was killed during the first phases of the Battle of La Difensa, and maybe the canteen was lost during the same time he was killed.
Gene, you should hold on to that.
Well, no,
I had a discussion with the veteran when I went here so many times searching stuff, and you will see in the museum. And as I was telling the story to the veterans, one of them says, "No, we don't forget nothing up there." Okay. So,
they're just sitting in this moss over here.
yes.
So there are relics all over.
Yes, because this area was not easy to reach, so not many people came here after the war to collect. Because after the war, also down over the land came here to take stuff like food, jackets, weapons. They need everything after the war, but this area was not easy to reach. So
That is a piece of shrapnel.
it was American 120 mortar bomb.
Artillery round, right?
Who is calling
A relic.
Someone's.
Oh, are they up?
Millimeter artillery.
I guess that must have been from all the
John, you there?
Artillery round.
Bodies up top there.
We're down here where the first scouts scaled the cliff. So you want us to meet you at the top now?
We got one more dip to go through, and we're going to be heading straight up. We'll head across to the right, underneath the cliffs there.
Eugene says bring some rope.
Everybody accounted for?
Yeah, we started with 4, so we think.
We all made it.
Congratulations.
Good to see
Great
you.
job.
We've been looking for you. Gene, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Oh, we made it.
After we got up that mountain, getting over that last knoll before the dip to the top, we heard the pipes. And immediately the tears came out. You needed to hear those pipes on those mountains.
The legacy of the force could be seen and heard that day on the top of La Difensa. The climb had given loved ones a chance to connect to the lives of those soldiers in a personal way. Some people were beginning to understand and find answers for the first time.
To the Forcemen, Americans and Canadians, who gave their lives to liberty and the pursuit of happiness for the citizens of USA, Canada, and Italy.
Salute!